All right, everybody, welcome back to another Thursday episode. And naturally, we start an episode as a car passes right in front of us, so disregard any background noise and or audio. But we have been doing a full mini-series about how to start a podcast, and in that, it led to the final episode, which is today. So that includes our studio tour, and welcome. We are going to dive into it, talk about all of the interesting moments and features that make up our studio, and then dive into another great weekly episode. So follow me and we'll talk about all the greatness that we did, starting with this wall. We built a wall out of nowhere, bought some wood before it skyrocketed in price. What's up, global supply chain issues? Naturally, it was painted just so we can give it some aesthetic value. We put in a door frame, and then of course the trim, we went with MDF trim, but because it's freezing, let's jump inside and then we'll finish the tour over there. All right, everybody, now that we are inside and warm, we will start by showcasing this interior wall that was already here. Of course, the acoustic paneling, which we'll dive into in a second, but this is just the starting point. So this is the inside of that interior wall that we put up and built. Of course, the door is plumb, so is the wall. We had to make sure of that. Behind this drywall is a incredible amount of insulation, as well as the drop ceiling, which we put in, which we'll showcase later. We wanted to add some special lighting just for background. This ensures that our shot is not only consistent, but a good viewing pleasure for everybody at home that watches our YouTube channel. We just threw some stuff up on the walls that we received from a bunch of brands that we've been working with for the past 2.5 years. And then on this stand, naturally, we added some fake plants. Derek's idea, which was awesome, but again, it helps the background. And then we have things that we've collected, really good books, just so that we can continue learning, different bottles that we've already reviewed and or continuously work with brand-wise. And then we have our Bondsman Club members cards specifically. They're called cards, but it's actual pieces of metal and super sharp. So that's really cool. Gold flakes. And for those wondering, we have a signified number assigned to us. Ours happens to be...
No, I don't want to know our number. Imposters.
So, as we work down this wall, what you'll see is the acoustic paneling, just to ensure that the audio is going to be great for you. Our whiskey review board, which as of now is filled out. We've been busy. Might also have a drinking problem. We'll talk about that later. We decided to go blue, black, gray, just darker, easier colors. It really helps the cameras, but it also stops reflections and anything crazy. So there's a lot of research involved in the paint that we decided to go with. Our second shelf, obviously same setup as the other. More brands, more free marketing just for other companies so that they're all included. A flag for obvious reasons. I mean, let's be real. And then as we keep moving, actually the thing that you probably have not seen yet is the carpet. We threw a carpet down here. Beneath this is just concrete, so we wanted to ensure that there was something under our feet so we weren't freezing. And then as we move, more acoustic paneling, sweaters and other merchandise, which you really never see during our YouTube videos, which is just interesting. But this is just stuff that we've been given and collected since we started 2.5 years ago. So a couple merchandise brands from Queen City Creative Works and then Positive Approach. We have a garbage can, which is really important, just for people wondering. And then stickers from our first single barrel release with 3-Chord Bourbon. We got this signed by Claudia Hauser, which is really cool. So obviously she was on our show. She appreciated having us work with her in that regard. And it's just a really cool piece that we have. And then we also have a original bottle 1 from our first single barrel. And then This is the first ever order for our single barrel, which was actually conducted by Megafan. So that was in here. And then we got a photo from High Peaks, one of our business sponsors. So that was just really cool. The other thing that we should touch on is lights. So like I said, we got background lights here, accent lights up top, and then we have more lights over across the table where these are paramount in regards to our cameras. So having these lights is a necessity because without them, it's gonna get very dark in here. We threw a monitor in here just for additional notes so that when we do Thursday episodes, any type of educational episodes, or a really cool Wednesday whiskey review, then we can just reference that instead of our phones and just kind of touch it up and be a bit more professional. And then this is the original table from Queen City Creative Works that they worked extremely hard on. Our logo is burned into the table, which is awesome. And then it's sitting on 2 giant barrels that we picked up from Southern Tier Distilling a couple months into being a podcast. So anchored it all on, and then this is what essentially makes up the inside of our studio, other than a lot of outlets, a lot of additional plugs, and more accents and a window. So the final pieces to speak on are the drop ceiling that Derek and I installed. So the drop ceiling frame was actually through family members. We only had to pick up a couple supplies for it, which was huge. We put this in, we installed it ourselves, just basically felt like alpha males for the first time in our lives. And then as Derek was laying in the tiles and cutting the tiles, I was laying the insulation on top. So the ceiling is caked with insulation as well. Of course, heat rises, we didn't want it to go anywhere. So we have insulation from the ceiling down. This is an exterior wall, so there wasn't too much that we can do with it. But while we were doing the drop ceiling, we knew we wanted consistent shots for the studio. So what we did was we actually anchored these brackets into the ceiling joists, basically up top, and then dropped them in. So Derek had to do some math and measurements and then make sure that everything was cut out correctly. But now we have consistent shots because our cameras sit up here, and then that is what you see on our YouTube channel when we do weekly episodes. And that's how we get our shot. It was a very busy couple days making this all happen, but because of everyone's support, it felt like it was necessary. We were sick of freezing, and now we're able to just comfortably be in here with a couple heaters during the winter, and then we have an AC unit as well during the summer, and we're able to just keep rocking. So I hope everybody enjoyed this tour. If anybody has any specific questions, if they've seen something that I didn't touch, just because we're in this so often, there might be some stuff that I brushed over, drop a comment below. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, of course, and we appreciate all of your support, and we'll see you guys next week as we keep on keeping on. Thanks, everybody.